All right, guys, today we've got a 2002 Jeep Wrangler with a 4-liter in it. This has got one of the craziest backstories I've ever seen, and I'm hoping it's not going to be that bad. Let's get into it. I'm going to read you the backstory here. It's intense and it's sad at the same time. Sad in a couple of ways, I think. So let me just read it straight to you. Client states the vehicle had a knock and is hard to start. He inherited it from his fiance 2 years ago. This has been an issue ever since he got it. He originally went down the rabbit hole due to a heat soaking and a hard start. So I guess he thought, it was getting hot and then it was hard to start, and he was looking at it himself. He took it to a shop. He said the first time in his life he ever went to a shop, and they told him the vehicle was 180 degrees out of time. They ended up replacing the entire top end due to stating the camshaft broke. All right, that's okay. All right.
For a hot soak.
Yeah, I mean
that's a little weird. Camshaft
broke 180 at the time. Okay, we're already down a big rabbit hole there. He authorized the repairs. At that point, they told him the entire fuel system needed to be replaced also, so he authorized that. And he had the PCM replaced, and then I guess warrantied out on top of it. So I guess they replaced it and then put another one in it. When he finally he wrote a letter to corporate after 2 years of the back and forth, and they told him the vehicle was ready to pick up. Okay. He showed up the next day, and they said it needs a battery. He went out with the lube tech, who then mentioned they broke gears and stuff. I don't know what broke gears and stuff means, but that's what the lube tech told him. At that point, he got in the vehicle and started, and it was louder and was still hard to start. He went back inside and told them it was not fixed, and he left it there. The next day, he received an email stating they will no longer work on the vehicle and come get it. So he went and got it, and here she sits. We are already prepped because I know this thing's been sitting forever. So we've got our little top-down booster here. I know the battery is going to be stone dead on it. Let's go ahead. Oh, okay. Let's get a visual right off the bat. I want to know what the entire top end. Okay, well, certainly that cylinder head looks, I don't know. It looks like it's been off because you can kind of see something happening right where the head gasket is. I don't know that it's a new head. No, definitely not a new head. I don't know. That head's even been off. It looks like it has here, but then you get back there, it looks like it's all greasy. Unless it came off and nobody cleaned it or did any work on it.
Did they say they replaced the battery? At the shop?
They just said it needed a battery. I don't know.
5 of 23.
5 of 23?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Hard to say what's been done on this thing. Okay. Well, let's not go down the same rabbit hole everybody else seems to have gone down. Let's see if we can't get it to at least spin over. All right, well, somebody's been in here. Fuse box. This is sitting on the floor. 138,764 miles. You know what? Stop. Before I go any further, stop. Want to be 100% here. All right. What is that? That's full of oil. Clean oil too. Want to be sure. Okay. Wow. Way too fast. Well, you could hear it. I don't know. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Come on, guys. All right. Well, sounds like timing. It's popping back. doing all kind of stuff. It's hitting, popping back through the, sounds like the intake. Let's get it, we're gonna need to get it pushed in. We're gonna have to move some stuff around, get it pushed in the shop, and we're gonna determine what's wrong with this car. I mean, yeah, if they put a camshaft and everything in it, you would think the thing would be in time, if nothing else. But let's get it in the shop. I'm laughing right now. It's just sad state of affairs. So we're gonna get a battery put in this thing. Got the battery over here, and I'm getting into, I was starting to look up the wiring and positions for the crank sensor and cam sensor. I don't want to go straight after they've got the mechanical timing off, because if they've got the ignition timing off, it'll sound like the same thing. So I've got the cam sensor, or the crank sensor connectors right here. So we're going to get into that. And then the cam sensor is here. And I went to just pull, you can see that there's like a little loom that's kind of covering the wire colors. So I went to just kind of pull the loom back and watch what happens. That should not move. That's got to be set in a very specific spot so that the timing is correct. So we know right off the bat that that's not going to fly. So I know on the old Fords there was a tool that you put on top of these things to set the timing on their camshaft sensors. Let's see here. Procedure, service and repair. All right. Yep. All right. Yep, know where it's at. Yep, know that. Sensor only, oil pump. Disconnect sensor, remove the 2 sensor mounting bolts. Okay. With the hold down clamp. Okay, installation sensor. All right. Okay. What is that? Temporarily install a toothpick or similar tool through the access hole at side of oil pump drive housing. Align the toothpick into the mating hole on the pulse ring. Install the oil pump drive into the engine while aligning the slot. Oil pump, rotate the oil pump drive back to its original position, install the hold down clamp bolt. Okay. If the engine crankshaft or camshaft has been rotated, such as during teardown, engine teardown, must be reestablished. Remove the ignition coil rail. You're gonna bring number 1 cylinder. Okay, you're gonna bring cylinder number 1 up top dead center. Okay. And then you're gonna do all that over again, I guess. Yeah. The smart thing to do here is to basically start from scratch and get that thing timed with the engine where we know it's right. We can do this with a scope. We can get the scope on the cam and the crank, and we can get a known good, and then we can try to time it. We could time it really exactly like that, actually. But since we have no idea where the starting point is here, we don't know if they're even close. We're gonna have to start from scratch. So we're gonna have to bring it up top dead center. The only way we're gonna know it's on top dead center, unfortunately, is to get number 1 plug out of it, and not a big deal normally, except on this one, you've got to pull this entire coil assembly off of it. So, and this was loose too, by the way. I noticed that when we were about to push it in. This is just sitting on here. So we're gonna get some stuff out of the way. We're gonna get this coil pack off of this and just kind of give us a good basic starting point on the timing, the ignition timing at least, because that cam timing, this is loose too. That cam timing is, and we got tape on, look at this. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Man, we don't know if that was them or anything. It might have been like that forever.
Who knows? I'm not saying it, I'm just looking at the funness that it is. But just do that. Okay. This is just like, for those of us that are old enough to remember, this is like ignition timing, right? You set your distributor. If that's off, this thing's not going to be anywhere near, it's not going to be running for sure. It's going to pop and do all kind of stuff. And the problem is, like, let's say somebody put a distributor in and you're trying to turn it to set the timing, but they've got the distributor off way off in the left field, then who knows? you're never going to get the distributor to turn far enough. And that's the same thing we're going to run into here. We've got to get this thing set at a base spot, and then we can, I mean, it might just start up and run for all we know, but at the very least, we'll know we've got it connected, or we've got it, you know, in the engine at the right spot where it'll give us the best opportunity. Because I did notice this also when I was looking at the crank sensor, that it does have a brand new crank sensor in the vehicle. So new crank sensor, looks like a new housing even for this cam sensor. Housing's got some stickers on it down there. Hard to tell from where I'm standing, but I mean, that sticker might be original, maybe. I don't know. So we're going to find out. We're going to get this thing timed up. Let me get the coils off of this thing. Stick that right up my nose. That'll work. Go ahead and bump it. Just bump, bump, bump. I'll tell you when to stop. Yes, I know I could do this with my finger, but it's kind of deep in there. Just bump. Manual transmission.
I thought it was an automatic for a while.
That's good.
That was pretty dumb.
You're just not used to it. How many manuals are there out in the world
Not
today?
many that we get into nowadays.
Hmm?
Not many of them that we get into nowadays. What were you doing there?
You're bumping it over until compression comes out. It's got a little whistle on it. So usually I just put my finger over it and I would hear it go, you know, push against my finger. But in this case, we're doing it like that. Now comes the fun part, because we've got to get it all the way up, which means we've got to get on that crank pulley. Got Eric down here. He's got the wrench on the crank pulley. He's going to be able to turn the crank pulley, you know, one way or whatever. I've got my screwdriver. I'm going to come over here in the spark plug hole on top of the piston. And I'm going to feel as this thing comes up, right? I'm going to be able to tell if when it gets all the way to top. We do have these things, but which will push this out. And you can see it's got little notches on it, and you'd be able to tell when it gets all the way to the top. The problem that I've run into on ones with this steep of an angle is it's pushing this way, and sometimes it doesn't like to push it out. And so you just use a screwdriver for me. So that's it. Okay, now I'm thinking there should be a timing mark, although I don't see it. Well, now, Chris, my gosh, man.
So I came through that way.
He came through there like, what's that?
Yeah,
but what was that? The Kool-Aid guy. What did he say when he came through, the Kool-Aid guy?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yep. I had to step over the box.
Yeah, we're good, man. We got Enrique over
Okay,
here.
you couldn't wait, okay.
No, I couldn't wait. Oh, there is a. Okay. There's a mark.
You want to show them?
You can kind of see it there. See the white dot lined up with that mark there. The second mark right there. And that second mark is 0. So, let me hang on a second. I'm going to be able to do this. Oops. Might be able to maybe get it down there. Right. There's the dot. There's the 0. So we're dead on it. I was pretty impressed with myself that I was able to get that laser on that, through that mirror on that dot. Well, you know.
You reflected it off the mirror?
Off the mirror onto the dot.
That is pretty cool.
You know, when I was in 9th grade, we set up a laser all the way around the school one time. That was back in the day, man. That was back when lasers were
Around
like
the corners to the hallway.
all the way around the whole school. Yeah.
You can't buy lasers like that. They're illegal now.
They're illegal?
Too strong.
Oh, wow. Okay, well. Back in my day, they should do whatever.
No rules, no regulations.
No rules, baby. Real quick, when you think we're done, we're actually not. We're going to talk to the client at the end of the video and ask him what he paid and what all was done to it. So we're going to get some information. So if you're really interested in hearing that, watch all the way to the end. And while you're here, jump down there, hit that subscribe button. 60-something% of you guys are not subscribed. You're watching it. I know Sherwood's telling me you're on the TV and it's hard to subscribe on there. Just get that remote, hit that subscribe button. It really helps. When we get to 500,000, 500,000, and we're moving up on it pretty quick, massive giveaway. So jump down there and hit that subscribe button. Back to the video. So now what we want to do is pull the sensor off of this. Get these little guys off. What we're going to see in here, what we should see, if memory serves me, is just a window, basically. Like a half moon with a window. Yep, there it is right there. Alright, so now I don't have any toothpicks here. It says to put a toothpick through the housing. I don't want to pull this housing out unless I absolutely have to. So if it's way out of time, but you know what? I see the hole, I think. I see the hole right in there. Yeah. So now I gotta find the hole in the house. Oh, there it is right there. That's the hole in the housing right there. So this thing, hopefully they've got this thing in there. Gotta figure out something small. What would be perfect for this is a toothpick. I got golf tees.
It's probably gonna be a little too big.
Too big.
I can go next door and see if they have toothpicks for some reason.
Over here? Why do we have a toothpick?
We have weird stuff.
They do. Yeah, I mean.
We keep a lot of weird stuff in stock.
Let's see if we got a toothpick over there.
What about this thing? The belt gauge.
Now that is a belt, yeah, but that's probably a little too small. Plus I need to be able to get it in there.
There's actually somebody that's got a toothpick. They're coming. Here they are. He said he delivers all your needs.
Bam.
How much are these?
$5.
That's why we don't buy anything from you.
Oh my gosh, you ruined the chance.
I knew you would ruin it.
Free to use, sir.
Oh, $5 for everybody else?
Yeah.
This deal's for you and you alone.
Thank you,
Yes,
Shane.
just today.
You're welcome.
I gotta find the daggone hole because I thought I had it,
Shane's
but I don't.
alright.
Yeah, he's alright. He's alright guy.
Still waiting to hear back about that brake thing though.
What brake thing?
The competition thing we were talking about.
The weight.
Oh. Man, where's the hole at?
You've lost the hole.
I don't know that I ever had it, honestly. Got this piece of plastic for now. Yes, I do have the toothpicks when we go to line it up, but I just want to show you guys. The hole in the window that's supposed to be lined up is way over there. All right, so it is. I'm gonna be very careful. Just don't want to, not gonna damage it or anything. The hole is there. Okay. I looked around thinking that I saw the hole over here on the housing. It's actually way over here. Now, if we come in, there's the hole in the housing. So
Alright,
that
Oh, okay, there we go.
should be over here, right? Clearly, that's out of time. Actually, that's 180 out. Now, I am concerned now that I see that it is directly 180 degrees out, pretty much. I'm questioning myself. Did we have that on top of that center? I heard the whistle. You guys heard the whistle. Should I question myself? Because that's literally 180 degrees out. But the thing won't start. So I'm going to trust myself more than whoever put that in there. How about that? I could be wrong. I might be redoing this. Let me just take that loose. Oh, gosh. Well, it was already loose. We knew that because it was turning, but I didn't think it was that loose. All right. This is the oil pump drive shaft. We're going to just take this. I don't want that. What is that? What is that? Okay. Let's take this out here because I don't know what the heck that What in the world? Okay, let's not let any of that drop in. That's a... Oh gosh. Hang
What
on.
was it?
Hang on. Okay. I guess that was a piece of the gasket. Doesn't look too new. So we're gonna have to have a gasket for this. And I should be able to get it in there, right? Because it's 180 out. So you see this is slotted into the oil pump. But I need it to be there, which should get me really close to, that's where we want it to be. Still got some movement there, but.
All right, let me try to find a gasket.
So we need to get a gasket for this. I might. All right, well,
No.
got the new gasket. Pretty simple. That one was pretty crunchy and old. Kind of a little worrisome that, well, maybe it never got out. Who knows? Who knows? That's all there is to it. Straightforward. All right, let's go ahead. Get this in there. This one. Nope. Yep, that's not going to work that way. So I got to turn that. I'm going to turn that oil pump. So it's going that way. I need to turn the oil pump piece that way. All right, I need to turn it counterclockwise. So there's just a matching slot in there on the oil pump for this to go in. This is what drives the oil pump. So pretty important in a lot of aspects, actually. It's closer. I still don't like it.
More adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
And you're turning it counterclockwise right now?
Yeah, just so that I'm trying to get the connector for the sensor to face where I want it to face. Which is right there. Perfect. That's where I want it. And now it's lined up. Got a little bit of movement there. We might have to do a little tweaking. We'll see. But we can do that with a scope if we need to. But this should get us hopefully in the area where it will start. So now, unless I'm off, could be. Pull that out because it won't move now. So now it won't move. We don't have to worry about it. I mean, I can turn the whole thing, but I'm not going to do that. Okay, so now that that's in, lined up, we're going to tighten that down. Okay. We will get the sensor back in it. spark plug definitely does not look good at all. We're gonna roll with it. We're gonna find out. Hopefully that'll stay on there. There's no exhaust on this thing past right here. See if that's resonator or maybe the muffler. But hopefully that'll hang. Maybe I did it wrong. Not the same way as it did. All right. This one's a little more difficult to do what I want it to do now. Because of this coil packing. We're going to go a little more in depth here. We're going to get this coil pack back off of it. We're going to get the number 1 coil control wire from the PCM or the ECM. We're going to get that on the scope. We're going to get an in-cylinder pressure transducer on here. So we're going to see when, in relationship to the compression stroke, when is the engine control module firing that spark plug. That's going to tell us, and we're going to also, although with cranking it's very difficult to tell if your cam timing is off, but we're at least going to get an idea if it's like something's way off. But maybe I had that thing popped up, and maybe I put that thing in backwards. But that means that I've got it basically 180 degrees of where they had it, and it's still doing exactly the same thing. So we're going to we're just going to kind of start over here, and we're going to, this should give us the answer on the timing part of it 100%. So it's going to take a couple of minutes to get everything set up, and then we'll come back and we'll show you what we got on the scope. This took me a minute to get this hooked up the way so it would work. Let me show you what I've got. I had to hook the coil pack up and get our number 1 coil fire is going to fire number 1 and number 6 coil, or number 1 and number 6 spark plug. Are going to be fired by that 1 coil. The way that I figured that out, just so you could know, because I know people are going to ask, well, how do you know that? This is going to be 1 coil for 2 cylinders, right? So what we call a DIS system. The firing order, if you take the firing order, so let me get a dry erase board here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. There's our firing order, 153624, right? And what we do is we take the second half of the firing order and we move it under the first half, which would be 6, 2, 4. This is going to fire together, this is going to fire together, this is going to fire together. So that's how you figure out which coil is going to fire what on a DIS system. Not coil on plug. This is one that has basically 2 cylinders for 1 coil. So that's how I figured that out. I've got a spark tester in number 6 and a spark tester in number 1. Now I've just got them connected together. Because the way that it fires is it fires through 1 coil, through the spark plug, the block, blah, 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 comes back up to the other spark plug, back into the coil. It makes a loop. That was the only way that I could get a good ignition strike to happen, because when I tried to do it without the coils hooked up at all, just thinking we would get, some type of a signal to the coil pack. It couldn't get anything that would read properly enough for me to make a decision. Again, I've still got the pressure transducer in number 1 cylinder. Let's pull up the when we spun it over and what we're going to look at. So here it is spinning over. Don't worry about this strike out here. This is our compression, is our green peaks is our compression. We can see our cranking compression is sitting up here about 140. So that's perfectly fine there. Maybe a little low, but yeah, we'll look at it. So let's look at our ignition timing though. Before I say that though, I did go back just to double check, because now I have this in here. I just unplugged this, spun it over, bumped it, shot out here, right? So that means we're at top dead center. And I did check, just pulled the sensor not the whole assembly back out, just the sensor back off of it, that is facing the correct direction. Right, so that's in there correctly. So it was installed incorrectly before. It's installed correctly now. But let's look at our firing. So our firing is happening incorrect time. So let me get some cursors. I want to show you guys how to do this. So we come over to the peak of this one. And go to the peak of this one. Get there. Okay. And then we're going to mark our camshaft. We can mark. All right. So this would give us where our camshaft would be in degrees. I'm not really concerned about that so much right this second. I will tell you that this exhaust cam, if we look at it right there to where the exhaust valve opened, I'm going to say it looks about right. I mean, it looks like it's somewhere in the, 30 degree before bottom dead center, maybe a little bit before that. We might be able to have specs on this engine. We'll look at that in a second. I'm looking more right here. If we go back, we grab the cursors again, we come over, we put it back on 0, and then we bring the other one over and we look at where that spark fired. So that spark fired right there. That is firing at 95 degrees, right, after top dead center. We want that firing somewhere about right there. Maybe a little bit, right in that area, somewhere right in this area right here. So it's definitely firing at the wrong time. Now, is that going to be a camshaft? I mean, we've got that sensor supposedly set where it's supposed to be. Before I go moving that, because I could technically think I can move that, and that may have been what they were trying to do, was sit there and move that thing around like a distributor and get that thing to come back. Before I do that, I want to just get a cam crank correlation also and see what they look like. Because they put a crank sensor in this thing also, are we getting something that doesn't look correct there before I go down the path of moving that sensor? It could just be something as simple as tweaking that sensor, but that's an awful lot of movement that we'd have to move that thing pretty good bit to get that out of it. So let me get in the, so then now what I'm gonna do is get 2 more channels on here. I'm gonna get a channel on the crank and a channel on the cam and get it all on the screen all at the same time. Let me show them what I got. Got those signals pulled up. Let me show you what they look like. And I'm gonna show you something interesting that I just saw, which made me look down another path. So if we go in and we zoom in here, and we just get a few of these. This one right here looks like it fired at the correct time. I'm thinking you guys can see what I'm marking right here. This one looked like it fired at the right time. But then this one didn't. And then if we keep going over, look at this, we can see that this one looks like it fired at the right time. So it's like they're coming and going, at the right time, wrong time, right time, wrong times. Okay. Then I started looking at the patterns themselves. So now if we just look at the crank sensor, that's the crank, this is the cam, right? I said, all right, well, what is that crank sensor supposed to look like, right? So I was able to find in the eScope software a known good from a newer model. I want to say this was a 2000, hang on. This is I thought it had a year on it, 2000, hang on. 2004. So this is 2004, and you can see what that sensor looks like. If I take the yellow one and move it down, the yellow is our crank. Oops, sorry. Mess you guys up. Here, go there. This is our crankshaft on this one. We see our cam looks like our cam, right? They look correct, right? That one looks the same as this one. But this one, this crankshaft right here does not look like that crankshaft at all. Well, then I said, okay, well, that's a 2004. Is that just not right? Is it different for 2004? So then I looked on here. This is on Rocky. And this is this is a 93 through 98, and you can see what the crank sensor on it looks like. The same thing. It's got, it's this one here. So we see the two crank sensors that we have known goods for, even though we don't have this exact year. 2 years before this year, I'm sorry, this is a 2002. So 4 years before this one is the same as the 2 years after this one. They look identical. That's going to lead me to think that there's something wrong with this crank sensor in this vehicle. Either the crank sensor itself or the pickup that it's, you know, the tone wheel. And I don't know what this picks up off of. Obviously, it's off of the it's not a flywheel. It's a flywheel on this one, but whoo, man, my brain's hurting right now. All right. We're going to pull this crank sensor out of it because I'm not worried about that cam sensor right now. I'm not worried about the timing of that cam sensor. I think it's right. I'm thinking that this crank sensor is just all over the place, and it's just the engine module is just trying to randomly pick where it wants to fire. We don't know what brand that is. We don't know what it, you know, if it's, I don't know. I don't think that it's got it might have a spacer in there. It's supposed to be in there. Not really sure of that. Let's get it out of there. Let's take a look at it. The other thing that I did notice when I was hooking up to it, sadly, is I'm just going to take the scope lead off of it. And I was just doing this, and it went boop and popped out. So sadly, the clip is, something on this is damaged on this piece. Or possibly on this one. We'll see. Hopefully it'll be on this side, because if it's on this side, it'll come with a new one, and that'll be fantastic. But let's get that out of there, and let's take a look at what we're dealing with. Goodness! I mean, holy moly, they got that tight. That's one of them loose. There you go. Oh. Let's see if I can get to this other one. That's more difficult to get to, so hopefully it's not as tight. But it is. Here's the old sensor. We got a new one. Thank goodness we can still get a Chrysler sensor, because you're always going to question this stuff. And there is the new one. It's going to look the same. All right. Let's get this one in, and I'm going to leave it hooked up the way it is, the scope and everything, just to see if we get a different pattern. I did look down in on the pickup wheel, on the flywheel, and it looks fine. I didn't see any issues at all with that. Let's go ahead. He found it just easier to get under here and do this. At least the one bolt is.
You're going to torque this one to
Definitely not going to torque it.
pounds as well?
Definitely not going to take it down to, 752 foot-pounds. What you doing, Z? Oh goodness, Z's coming in. He's coming in. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh goodness. I know. He's overweight. He's overweight. If he is. The sensor is right here. And it just has 2 bolts in it that are going to hold it into the transmission. See if I can't zoom in without messing you guys up too much. You can see it. You can see it there. Never easy. It feels like it's just always something. We got the new sensor installed in the Jeep. Physically it bolted in, no problem. The connector, which one of my rules is to always double check everything, when we went to plug it in, this connector is just ever so slightly more square than the other one. So here's the one we pulled out of it. I'll see if I can't get down here to you so you guys can kind of maybe can see them both. And oh, it kind of stinks. I'm not gonna pull it back out.
You're probably wondering about what you got going on there.
Yeah, I'll show. I'll tell. But you guys can see there's the corners are just slightly more round on this one than they are on the original one. So it will not plug in. As you can see, I've taken some jumpers and connected to the sensor and to the connector. And I've just got it jumped here, and then I have the signal wire right there, back to our orange cable. And I've got that pattern pulled up. Now, this pattern was pulled up. As you can also see that I have put back in the coil assembly. Only put a couple bolts in it. I literally put the spark plug back in there, threw that on. I said, after I got this pattern, because I'm going to show you the pattern, I'm going to show you why I did that. The crank sensor, if we look at this thing, still looks a little weird, right? It still doesn't look like the other sensors that we had pulled up. So if we go back over again, pull this other one up real quick, you can see that this thing is, you can see that it is on ground, and then it just, right, does that. Whereas what we have is not that. We are kind of the same thing that we had before. It looks a little different, I think. I'd have to pull it up to look at it. But here's what did stand out to me. If we look now, we clearly have a strike. That's where we want that strike to be. That's where we want that strike to be. That's where we want that strike to be. So the firing was happening at the right time. If we come in, let me go in, move this around just a little bit. Tell you what, let's just do this. We'll zoom in here. All right, get our cursors. That way you guys can see the exact timing on this thing. This is exactly what you want to see. I mean, if you remember from what I told you before, we wanted it to fire. Well, now we're seeing it. And we go here, like that. And we get the cursor. Just do this, move it over here. And you can see that where that strike happened, which I'm just taking the cursor and I'm moving it right over where the spark happened, 21 degrees before top dead center. So that's exactly what we wanted to have happen. The vehicle, actually, I stuck that back on there, and we were about to have our Thanksgiving lunch over here, and I'm like, I got to know before I walk over there, and I started up. I ran it for like 2 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead. This was cranking. This was obviously cranking because you can see we still have the in-cylinder pressure transducer in there. You can see we have that waveform. Now we don't have that in. I still have the crank and cam connected. So what we're going to do now is fire this thing up. I mean, fires right off. I've not given it any gas or anything yet. Even with the extractor, it's still...
It's not on.
It's making, oh, it's not? It fell off? Fell off. All right, let's see what we have for a... We'll let that thing run for just a minute here. Turn our red off. Our red is still our ignition. Let's go ahead and zoom in on our crank sensor. Let's just see what it looks like. Oh, our crank, there's our crank. There is what we expect to see. There we go. Perfect. All right. Whoo, man, that thing is smelling bad. It's got a little richness going on in here. But the crank sensor is perfect. We know that this crank sensor is going to make the vehicle run. We've got to figure out what we're going to do with the connector, whether we're going to replace the harness side of that would match that crank sensor, which would, for me, be absolutely perfect because remember the harness side, it is that side that's messed up that won't clip in, but I've got to try to find that. We did some research online and it looks like a bunch of aftermarket companies offer an upgrade kit, I'm doing this, to replace the connector end on the harness side. Maybe that's been done in the past. This is a 2002, this is 23, almost 24 years old, so maybe somebody's done that in the past. And now the original connector, the original sensor will no longer fit in it. But we're going to go get a hold of connector experts and see if we can't get a shell for the Jeep that would fit this new sensor that's in there, because I'd rather keep the Jeep sensor in it right now, the Chrysler sensor in it right now. But for all intents and purposes, we fixed this vehicle. Yeah, we had a couple issues. We had the cam sensor was off, right? I think what happened here was whatever work they did, I don't know as far as the cam being broken and all that, no idea. But clearly what happened towards the end was the vehicle wouldn't start. They put a cam sensor in it and a crank sensor in it at some point. I don't know which one went where, which came first, the chicken or the egg. But then they were moving that cam sensor around, and who knows? I mean, that was clearly in there wrong. But we've got that in there right, and then we've had the crank sensor bad. This is exactly why I say vehicles break in a very logical manner until a human being touches it. And again, I'll reiterate this till the day I die. I'm not saying that anybody is doing anything diabolical trying to mess something up. What I am saying is we had two problems here, right? And that wouldn't be a normal case unless somebody... So this problem with the cam sensor, that's human introduced. It didn't slip or move around in there. It was installed incorrectly. That crank sensor being put in there, that's a bad crank sensor. That's on a human being, right? I mean... It's that sensor is new, but what does new stand for us? Never ever worked. That's kind of.
Never heard that one. We used that one before.
I've used that before.
I've never.
Not on camera.
That. Okay.
Well, anyway. All right. That's it for this one, guys. It's going to be fine. We'll figure out this shell problem. We'll get this connector taken care of for the guy. Get him back on the road after 2 years of sitting. We'll have this thing running and going down the road. If we do run into some other weird problem or anything, we'll come back and do a follow-up on it. But for now, I think we're going to be fine. So you know what to do at this point. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell notification. Leave a comment down below. I mean, we'll just keep beating the dead horse, I guess. When was the last time you had a bad part that cost you some time? I'd love to hear about them. There's a lot of them out there. Appreciate you watching. We'll see you in the next one.
And have you ever had a shop just give up on your car before?
Oh, yeah, that is a weird one. It's just like, we're done. Come and get it.
Very weird.
Yeah.
I'm sure some people have experienced
I
that.
would really like to know if he paid.
Yeah, actually, we should find that out.
Let's find out. Daniel?
Hey.
Hey, this is Sherwood at Royalty Auto Service.
Hey, what's up, Sherwood? How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How are you doing?
Doing great.
Good.
Weird hearing your voice on a phone call.
Well, I've got you some answers, but I got some questions first. Do you have a couple of minutes?
Yeah, I'm good, man. What's
All
up?
right, perfect. So, I went over the notes on this thing. I had a question for you. I mean, I know that this other shop basically said they no longer are working on it. Did you pay them anything to work on this?
I did. So what happened was they called me. They told me it was ready to go. I went into the shop, like up to the front desk. I've been in contact with them for a while, like back and forth with the main lady. So I was like just completely comfortable, like, oh yeah, you guys got it, bam, bam. They told me, they're like, since it's been sitting so long, you're gonna need a new battery. I can put one in, but it'll be cheaper for you to do it. I'm like, it's warranted. I'll go do it there. So I pay what I pay. I get the keys and I go back to the lot while the tech's waiting, like following me back with a jump box.
Okay.
And I go and I get in the Jeep and I put the keys in the ignition, turn it, and auxiliary comes on. I'm like, oh, well, the battery's not dead. So before he goes to plug it up, I start cranking it. It's the same hard start.
Okay.
And I took the keys out and I was like, dude, same damn thing. I was like, guys ain't changed nothing. He's like, well, I was like, yeah, you guys put a whole new, you guys did the top end of the cam and all that. And he's like, I thought that just the timing gear came off and pushed through the cover. And I was like, what? So I'm thinking this is like a tech that didn't really know the whole backstory. He's just kind of like new guy, just observing.
Yeah.
So when I went up to him, I'm like, yeah, so what's up with that? I think he slipped. They're like, oh no, it's we'll look at it. We've had a shop lead change twice since we've had it.
Okay.
So they've had 2 new mines coming in and starting from scratch on it.
Okay.
And then, so then when they thought they got done with the camshaft and it was all good to go, it was literally doing the same exact thing.
Okay.
So I don't think the camshaft was broke. The video they sent me, I don't know if it's in those notes or whatever, or no, because I sent you papers. It was like they turned the key with the valve cover off and it was just free spinning without the valves moving. So like obviously, you know, it's a non-interference, so it wasn't hitting any valves or anything. So that was showing, you know, something was broke in it by what they were showing me the video. But like back thinking, I'm like, yeah, well, if the keyway slipped and the gear was off, of course it's going to free spin.
So the gear was turning, but the camshaft wasn't turning?
Yes.
Okay.
So you can hear it like spooling, but
Yeah.
like the timing gear wasn't spinning.
Huh.
So I think like the way he made it sound is the keyway slipped. So like, and then they're like, oh, well, we had to change it anyway because it damaged the shaft, and like, you know, backpedaling.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
all right.
Well, let me tell you what we got on it, and then we'll
What's up?
go to the next step here. So we got into it. Definitely. I mean, it's out of time. You can hear it's out of time, right? It's sitting there when it
Yep.
pop, you know. And so I didn't want to sit there and do that because obviously I don't want to damage anything. You know, you don't want to sit there and spin it over like that. This doesn't have
Yeah.
a distributor in it. You know that. It's got a cam sensor in
Yeah.
it that's got a housing that goes down to the oil pump drive. And
Yeah.
so the first thing that I did was get into that, and I
The
wanted to see
degree
if
off, you think?
it was 180 degrees out. So it was loose, first of all. It wasn't even tight. So as soon as I got to it, I was, you know, able to, you know, I went to just get a scope on it. I went to go just move the wires a little bit on the connector just to be able, so I could get the scope in it. And the whole thing is just turning to my hand. I'm like, okay, well, you know, that's not good.
Wow.
And so I thought, well, maybe they were having issues trying to get it to be set right, and maybe they were moving it around, you know, like you would do a distributor, you know, to get the timing set. So first thing I did was just brought it up top that center and checked it. It was out, so I went ahead and put it in correctly, and I'm thinking, okay, well, that's a slam dunk, you know, easy peasy. We'll get this thing on the road for you. And nope, same thing. So now I'm like, okay, well, it's in there timed. That's timed right. Let's do a cam crank correlation on it. So just looking at the cam sensor looked new. The crank sensor looked new. You could see it was just jumping all over the place. It was firing it just everywhere but where it needed to fire it. And the cam sensor or the crank sensor signal just looked very weird. So we pulled up some known good ones. We got a crank sensor. I keep saying cam sensor. A crank sensor, and put it in. We got we're able to get a actual Chrysler crank sensor. Okay, and we installed it, but then the connector wouldn't work. I still need to prove this out whether or not this is going to fix the car. So I just jumpered some leads from each of the terminals on the harness of the vehicle to the new crank sensor connector, if that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Basically connected it up just temporarily. And the truck just started up like I'm talking about half a turn, boom, fired right off. You know. So I didn't run it for long, obviously. I mean, I've just got this thing kind of patched together, but I didn't want to run it long until I know it's buttoned up. But I mean, I started it several times. Starts every single time. I mean, it revs up. It's like it's supposed to. Obviously, not driving it down the road or anything. We'll figure.
Dude, you're a wizard.
We'll figure it out, right? We'll get something figured out on it. But I'm worried about going with an aftermarket crank sensor. Anyway, so I just basically we're doing a video on the Jeep, and we wanted to know if you paid, right? Because I'm sitting there saying I don't know if you paid, and because
$3,700.
Oh gosh. Okay. Okay. Well, and I don't know, what. Obviously, you've got a video with the camshaft not turning and the crank gear or the cam gear is turning, right? So I mean, something had to be wrong there.
That's what I'm saying. They were telling me that it sheared the camshaft. I'm like, I don't think so, but I think it was just that.
It didn't. It might have sheared the pin like you thought. If the cam, if the whole cam is not turning, right? I mean front to back, and the cam gear is spinning, then clearly the cam gear would be damaged, and clearly the pin is damaged, or whatever. I don't know about pulling this thing apart, whether it's got a pin or whether it's got a keyway or whatever it is. That's damaged. I mean, could it have theoretically damaged the front end, the nose of the cam? Sure, because if the cam gear is spinning and nothing's holding it still, then it's possible. But then we've got to figure out what the root cause of that was, because that thing just didn't shear off all by. Here's what happened. The cam gear didn't shear off. The crank sensor go bad. The cam sensor be out of time. All this stuff didn't happen like you're driving this thing down the road, and it just did this. I mean, what was the original? What happened with this thing? Was it like Just
I actually inherited it from my fiance. She had it not running when we got together.
okay.
And I kind of just started getting like, oh, you know, let's mess with it. I had it in the garage for about a year, and then it totally, I flipped the, originally it was fuel pump was the cause, and then so I just, you know, replaced that easy, went all the way up into the ejectors. I'm like, all right, well, the whole fuel system's replaced now, and we have the same problem. Went in through the whole ignition system. Obviously, you saw the new, they put the new sensors in. I've done, I did one, you know, like a Duralast, and then I went to a junkyard and pulled an OEM, like on all, like the typicals, the cam, crank, all that stuff.
Okay.
Where you're talking about the setting, like instead of a distributor, you know, on that, where it has the cam sensor or the crank sensor.
Yeah.
No, it'd be the cam on that side where,
sensor.
you know, you have the adjustment and your timing on that.
Yeah.
I've had that reset. So that was locked down when I left it. So they were the ones that left that loose.
Okay. They probably were fighting. They probably were fighting the crank sensor. Is what I'm thinking happened.
Yeah, I did the timing chain and the gears. It was 180 out when I pulled it.
Okay.
So I don't know if somebody did that prior and did it 180 out, but apparently those 4.0s can run 180. I didn't know that. That's what I heard. But that was my explanation of it being like, all right, well, you know, that's what's going on here is the timing's off, and they put it back together. I went to start it like same hard startings, and it still runs and stuff. It's just once it's running in that hard start motion, and then it warms up, then it's a heat soak. You can't start it whatsoever until it cools down.
Okay.
But it's a really tough start. So when I got done putting the timing cover back on, timing's new chain, new gears, go ahead, and it was the same, and it started up, and I turned it off, and I said, screw this, I'm taking it to the shop.
Okay.
Never took a car to a shop in my life, and I'm like, all right, I'm doing it. And it was just a nightmare. They had it for a year and a half, almost 2 years.
Okay.
Too.
So obviously I'm gonna want to run this thing, get it hot, then do a 15-minute hot soak. You know what I'm saying? Just to be sure we eliminate all of the issues, right? But we can 100% know that the crank sensor is the reason why. Like we couldn't even get it. I was afraid to continue to try to get it to start. I'm not saying that maybe it wouldn't have started at some point because I mean the ignition is just jumping all over the place. But
like the starter is going to catch on fire.
Oh yeah, I mean, or we're going to damage something right in the engine because I mean it's backfiring and doing all kind of stuff. So, okay. Well, let me. I can feel that they're texting me back. So let me get with this company, find out if we can't get a connector, and if not, we're gonna have to figure something out. But let's get down that path first, and then once we do that, I'll call you back and go, hey, got that. Got it. You know, I'll let you know if we run it, hot soak it, and all that kind of stuff, and if everything's good. If we do have another issue, I'll let you know. But you know, we'll get that. We'll get to that bridge when we get there.
Well, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. This is one of the coolest things ever. So
absolutely, man.
You.
Absolutely. I'll talk to you soon. All right, buddy.
All right, easy.
And now it's about 3 or 4 months later, and he has been enjoying his Jeep this whole time. It's fixed, no issues whatsoever. So we wanted to be sure that everything was good with it. No more, lingering issues coming on. It's double thumbs up. We appreciate you guys. You know what to do now. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Hit that notification button. Hit that hype button. Hit that leaving comment thing down there. And I don't know what I'm doing right now.
I think you covered it all.
Yeah.
So just tell them see you in the next one and we'll be good.
See you in the next one.
Good? Was that good? Perfect. Perfect? All right. You're good.